I also wanted to share a studio tip with you because one of the things that, let's face it, we have so much stuff that we want to get a grasp of. So this is a studio tip that will at least help you with one of the aspects of your art practice. So I want to share that I have a number of ways that I deal with paint, and I think it's really one of those tips that's going to help many artists if they're not sure if they have enough time to work. If you can get a system down that makes it easy for you, then you'll have time to work and you'll get into your work really quickly. Some of my paint, I'm just going to grab this. First of all, I have everything on trolleys, but I want to show you a couple of things about my paint. Let me just move the camera here. Sorry about that. Of course, I have paint in tubes, and I keep those handy, my favorite colors particularly. I though also have a number of my paints. Sorry, I should have had that ready. I put them in bottles. These are like ketchup bottles that you can just buy online. Amazon, go to Amazon, and these are different sizes. I don't know what size they are, but I bought 2 different sizes, and I like these better because they're both a screw cap. But I have squeezed this bottle too hard once and it blew the lid off. So that didn't turn my dial. The other thing is that these lids, they seem to crack easy. And these are pretty heavy duty, but they come attached with a little spine. But I cut that off because the plastic is so thick that sometimes it pops the lid off when I don't want it to. So I put my paint in these bottles and I mix a little bit of water in, so it makes it not heavy body. I don't like heavy body, so that a little bit of water, let's say I put this much paint in and then about this much water, and then I leave the room for shaking it up. So I make my paint a little bit more fluid. And another bottle that I have is this bottle. It takes a long time to, if you order it online. But what it is this is the squeeze right here. And here's an opening, and here's an opening. So I can just squeeze it, and I don't have to worry about these caps. So this took about 6 weeks to arrive, so I bought 12 of them. And I really like them. I really, really like them. When I store them up, especially when I fill them up, because I don't want the pressure of all that paint to start pushing this little silicone opening open. And that's happened before, but I'd say they're a really, really great bottle for me for being able to squeeze paint out in a hurry. And I also color code how I store my paint. I'll just show you that. I put them in baskets so that I can grab what I need quickly. Now, the other thing that I want to share with you is my painting palettes. I use wet palettes, and you can buy them online. You can buy them on Amazon, or you can go to an art store website or your favorite art store because they're pretty popular, but they're also kind of expensive. So I did buy a couple of them. I bought the biggest ones that there were, and then I just found other things. Now, what I'm going to show you, this is not easy to find. I found it, a friend of mine gave them to me. She works in a hospital, and they were just throwing these things away. But you can use the very similar concept and get TV trays, restaurant TV trays, and you can order those online. So let me show you what I have here. Now, these trays are awesome. These trays were, I don't know, I think they're for surgery. And they would get a kit of stuff. As a matter of fact, what came in the kit is this sponge, and it's for swabbing. So my friend was telling me that the hospital just, takes what's in the kit, and they don't even use half of what's in the kit. And then when they're done, they throw them away. And I said, give them to me. I didn't even know how I was going to use it. Because I do have palettes that are larger, but for small paintings, I find these really great. They're fairly flimsy, but because I have so many, I can just double them up, stack them together if that's a worry, just put two together. So imagine though you're going to use a TV tray, because unless you have a friend who works in a surgery, you're not going to have these. But a TV tray, which is actually more shallow and probably better, because then you don't have to clear the edge as much as I do. So let me just show you what this palette looks like. So I have a palette here, and I just flip the lid over. Sorry, it's not the lid, it's just two of them, and I just put it over to keep it wet. But you don't even have to do that because it's a wet palette. So, whoops, let's put it this way. It's a wet palette, so it doesn't matter if I forgot not to put the lid on. Let me just show you. There we go. I'm going to grab the camera quickly just because it's not secure, but you can see the palette. Okay, great. Sorry about that. And so this is amazing because I can just come into my studio for I have 5 minutes, and I might find a painting on the wall and think, you know what? I want that bit of a greeny yellow splash, and I happen to have it here. So it's fantastic because I already have the colors handy and ready to go. And that's what's so great about a wet palette. And the thing that you want to do, especially if you don't have a lot of time in the studio, is to make it easy on yourself so that when you do get in, you can just get going. And that way then you won't steer away or find reasons not to do what you really want to do. I know you do. So let me show you how to make this wet palette. Just tip that a little bit that way. There we go. Very, very simple. You're going to get a tray. Let me flip this a little bit more. There we go. You're going to get yourself a TV tray. And you're going to get some paper towels. It doesn't matter what brand. Sometimes I use paper towels. And sometimes I use shop towels. And, the shop towels, they last a lot longer. But I like these paper towels as well because they kind of encourage me to not spend too much time with a wet palette. Because if you do, without changing, because if you keep it going, sometimes it gets a bit moldy, so you don't want that. So I doubled up on this, but you need to, when you get your TV tray, you're going to figure out the math on this. And so I just doubled up so that I had a little pad of these. And then I just dump water on this so that I make a wet palette. But before I do that, I take some wax paper and measure how much I need, because if I measure afterwards, I have to, I don't want the wax paper to get wet until I'm ready. So now I've measured that, and I just pour some water in here. And you don't want this too wet, you guys. My other one was quite wet, but because I use the wet paint sometimes like a glaze, it doesn't bother me. But if you don't want your paint to be too wet, don't leave all the extra water in. you want to actually drain that extra water out again. Okay? And watch your little sheets so they don't fall out. Now this this corner here didn't get completely wet, so I'm going to just put a little bit of water on that because I do want the whole thing to be wet, but I don't want to have to drain it again. And then you just take your wax paper and, you know, you can cut it to size, but to be perfectly honest, I just can't be bothered. So I already have cut it to size. And now I'm just fitting it in here. And if you get a number of TV trays, then you can have a number of pallets going. Not only that, but, and I would actually be a little bit more neat than this. I would tuck it in so that I don't have a lot of paper sticking out. I mean, if you like that, that's totally fine. For demo purposes, basically, it's it's your paper towels, water, and wax paper. Now, I'm going to answer the question that I know everybody's going to ask. Does parchment paper work? Well, I've tried it and it curls and it drove me nuts. So no. I mean, try it, but if you find that it curls, switch to wax paper. Does tracing paper work? I've tried it, it ripped, so I don't use it. The reason, I'm kind of rough. So you can use tracing paper and try parchment paper if you have it. Mine curled, so I didn't like that. The wax paper works really well. And I've had trays last for weeks, but you have to be careful about mold. So, but what's nice about getting a bunch of trays too is you can put a lot of paint in this. You can put in 5 different globs of paint and use the whole thing as your palette. Or maybe you just want to have one color that you're mixing different colors from, and then you start another palette for your range. So you can have several palettes in a row, and that would be your master set of palettes. So anyway, I hope you found that helpful. Grab some TV trays online on Amazon, and you know, because you also want to be able to use the second TV tray as a lid, right? You don't have to have a lid. Because you could walk away with that without it being covered for the afternoon or even overnight. I've never done that because frankly, I don't trust that it's going to be wet still, but it will. So get a couple of TV trays. And if you think you'd like to have 2 palettes going, then get 4. And anything that you've got going on with paper towels or shop towels, I like the blue shop towels as well. And what I love about these is that I can wash them and reuse them over and over. And I even throw these on the ground if I'm doing drippy work and I want to sop up some of it. I do that with a really dirty rag, a dirty one, like one that's been used a gazillion times. And I've used these too in my palettes. They have molded, but so have those. And you know, the reason why they mold is because I get busy doing something else and I forgot about the palette. So don't stress about the mold unless you haven't been working in your studio very long. And we hope that's not the case. So I hope you guys found this helpful, a helpful tip. Okay, thanks so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a great weekend too.